Welcome to this advanced English masterclass. In this masterclass, you're going to improve all areas of your English so you can get fluent this year. Welcome back to JForrest English. Of course, I'm Jennifer. Now let's get started. First, in this masterclass, we're going to read a cute and romantic story together. Here's how this lesson will work. I'm going to read a short section of the story, and then we'll discuss some vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation, and then you'll repeat after me. Here we go with the first section. It was a glorious and colorful autumn. When we walked by the coffee shop, she giggled and pulled me inside, saying, "Come on, let's get some pumpkin spice." It was a glorious. Notice that pronunciation, glorious. There are three sounds, glorious. Glorious. Repeat after me. Glorious. Wonderful. Glorious is an adjective that means deserving admiration. So they're saying autumn, which is another word for fall. Fall is more common in North America. Deserves admiration. It was a glorious and colorful autumn. Repeat after me. It was a glorious and colorful autumn. Great. Let's look at giggled. Do you know what this means? To giggle is a verb and it means to laugh, but it can mean to laugh in a silly, cute, or rude way. So it really depends on the context. You can tell from this story that it isn't a rude way. It might be rude to giggle if you're in a classroom and the teacher is giving a presentation or teaching and you're giggling during the presentation. That could be considered rude. But in this context, it sounds like it's cute. Let's look at the pronunciation. Giggled, old. So notice that ED is pronounced as a very soft D. Giggled. Repeat after me. Giggled. Giggled. Excellent. Now the full sentence. She giggled and pulled me inside. Repeat. Wonderful. How about this word? Come on. What does that mean? Have you seen this spelled before? C''M''O''N. Come on. This is the short form of writing come on. Come on. Notice the pronunciation in the abbreviated form, which is very common in spoken English or in a text message in informal English. Come on. K. So instead of saying come, I'm saying k. Come on. Repeat after me. Come on. Come on. This is an informal way to urge someone to do something. In the story, come on, let's get some pumpkin spice. Pumpkin spice is, of course, a type of coffee flavored like pumpkin, which is extremely popular in North America in fall, autumn. Come on, let's get some pumpkin spice. I'm urging you to get pumpkin spice with me. Come on, let's get some pumpkin spice. Repeat. Excellent. I could urge you and say, come on, we're going to be late. So I'm urging you to leave or to start moving. Come on, come on. Repeat that, come on. Excellent. Let's move on in our story. I don't like coffee and I never did. But when she handed me my cup and looked into my eyes while I tried it, it was the best thing I'd ever tasted. Let's practice handed me my. Native speakers, we speak fast because we combine sounds together. So our first sound is handed. We have that did. Handed me my. Handed me my. Try that. Handed me my. One more time. Handed me my. Excellent. Now, to hand someone something is simply to give someone something. Looked into my eyes. Let's practice combining these together. The ED on looked is pronounced as a soft T. Repeat, looked. Looked. Excellent. Looked into. Looked into. Repeat. Looked into. Looked into my eyes. Notice that y sound helps link to the vowel. My eyes. Repeat that. My eyes. My eyes. Looked into my eyes. Repeat. Excellent. Now, of course, you can look into someone's eyes because this is a very poetic story. I would probably say gazed into my eyes. To gaze into one's eyes is to look deeply or with admiration. Notice that pronunciation? Gaze, gaze. Repeat, gaze, gaze. She gazed into my eyes. Repeat. She gazed into my eyes. Excellent. Let's look at I'd ever tasted because we have that contraction. I'd ever tasted. What does I'd, what word is that? What verb tense is this? I had ever tasted. And this is what verb tense? The past perfect. That pronunciation of the contraction, I'd, a very soft D. I'd. Repeat that. I'd ever tasted. Excellent. Grammatically, you can also use the present perfect, and you would also use a contraction. Was the best thing I've ever tasted. I have ever tasted. This is the present perfect. And in the contraction, it's I've. I've. Repeat. I've ever tasted. I'd ever tasted. I've ever tasted. Notice a very subtle difference, but a native speaker hears that difference and knows what verb tense is being used. Let's continue our story. As we walked through the park with our drinks, a light drizzle began to fall. She pulled out an umbrella from her bag, and I pulled up my hood. Let's review walked. Notice that's also a soft T. Walked, walked. Excellent. Repeat the sentence. As we walked through the park. Excellent. Drizzle. Oh, I hear a lot of pronunciation mistakes. Drizzle. Repeat after me. Drizzle. Zl. Drizzle. Drizzle. Practice that. Now, what is drizzle? It's rain in very small or light drops. So light rain, very light rain. Let's practice this in a sentence. It's been drizzling, drizzling. Let's try just that word, drizzling. Drizzling. It's been drizzling all day. Repeat. It's been drizzling all day. Great job. Keep practicing that. Let's review pulled out. Notice it ends in a soft D, but because I have a vowel, I combine those together. Pulled out. Pulled out. Repeat. Pulled out. She pulled out an umbrella. This means she took out an umbrella or she removed an umbrella from her bag. Let's practice that. She pulled out an umbrella. Now notice we also have pulled up. Same thing, d, a soft D, and then we transfer it to up. Pulled up, dup, pulled up, pulled up. I pulled up my hood. This means I raised my hood. And you can also use put up. I put up my hood. Repeat after me. I pulled up my hood. I pulled up my hood. Excellent. Let's continue with our story. Don't be silly, she giggled, pulling me under the umbrella with her. I couldn't help but laugh too. Her laugh was infectious. Don't be silly. This is used to say, that's not a good idea. Silly is an adjective. Listen to that pronunciation. Silly, silly. Repeat, silly. Silly. Don't be silly. Don't be silly. Great one to have in your vocabulary. Maybe you say to me, Jennifer, should I study for 6 hours a day? And I say, don't be silly. 1 hour per day is enough. Let's look at the sentence structure of I couldn't help but. What do we have next? A base verb. This means you're unable to resist the action. So in the story, it means she wasn't able to resist laughing. She had to laugh. I couldn't help but laugh. Hopefully you say, I couldn't help but subscribe after I watched this video. And hopefully you can't resist subscribing. You must subscribe because you enjoyed this video so much. So make sure you subscribe. Let's review infectious. Notice that 3 sounds, infectious, infectious, and the syllable stress is on the second syllable. Repeat after me, infectious, infectious. This is an adjective, and in the story it means her laugh made me want to laugh. Her laugh was infectious. You might say, your enthusiasm is infectious. This means seeing your enthusiasm makes me want to be more enthusiastic. The sentence structure is something, the verb to be conjugated with the something, infectious. Let's review the next part of the story. As the sun started to shine again, she pulled me down to sit on a bench. She beamed down at me, and I could only gaze back adoringly. Let's practice combining sounds together. Beam down at me. A native speaker will say, beam down at me. Beam down at me. Repeat, beam down at me. Beam down at me. Notice because we have beamed in the ED, but it's a very soft D. And because down begins with a D, I don't pronounce it, because if I pronounce beam down together, that D will be for both of them. And I take that N sound and I transfer it to smooth those out. Beam down at me. One more time. Beam down at me. Excellent. To beam down at someone is to smile warmly or adoringly at someone. You could also say the sun was beaming down on me, which means the sun was shining on you directly or strongly. We already talked about gaze. Listen here, gaze back adoringly. Again, this means to look deeply at someone with love or admiration. Let's practice adoringly. Notice that syllable stress on door. Adoringly, ingly, adoringly. Repeat after me, adoringly, adoringly. Let's practice the sentence, I could only gaze back adoringly. Repeat. One more time. I could only gaze back adoringly. Great job. Now let's keep expanding your vocabulary, and you're going to learn 7 phrases that you can use every day. And these phrases will help you if you're beginner, intermediate, or advanced. Your first phrase to sound like a native speaker, one you must start using. How's it going? How's it going?
How's it going?
If you've been following me for a while, and if you haven't, make sure you subscribe right now, you'll know that I teach all my students to use how's it going, because it will instantly make you sound like a native speaker. Of course, this is a replacement to how are you, and it's used in friendly professional situations and social contexts. Yes, you can still use this in professional situations, just make sure the atmosphere is more friendly. But to sound like a native speaker, you must pronounce it like a native speaker. You cannot say, how is it going? With spaces between. You must say, how's it going? How's it going? So notice those sounds. How's it? Zit. You have that strong z, zit. How's it going? How's it going? Repeat after me. How's it going? How's it going? Keep practicing that until you're pronouncing it just like me. Now, to answer, because you will be asked this by native speakers, to answer, you would say it's going plus adjective, or you can simply use the adjective. It's going. Notice that it's going. Make sure you get that contraction. Don't say it is going. That will not make you sound like a native speaker. It's going. Great, good, pretty good, not too bad, okay. Those are the most common options.
How's it going? How is Andy?
How's it going?
Don't worry about taking notes because I summarize everything in a free lesson PDF. You can find the link in the description. Number 2, do you have a sec? Do you have a sec?
Do you have a sec?
This is used to ask if someone can give you their attention for a short period of time because sec is short for second. Do you have a second? Do you have a sec? Now make sure you pronounce that k. It's a K sound at the end. Sec. Repeat after me. Sec. Sec. Native speakers will often drop the auxiliary and the subject and simply say, have a sec. Instead of do you have, we simply say, have a sec. And more casually, informally, we use got instead of have. Got a sec. Got a sec. So you could come in, knock on my door, and say, hey Jennifer, do you have a sec? If I'm available for a short period of time, I can say, sure, what's up? Now you can also specify what you want to talk about in the question. Hi Jennifer, do you have a sec to talk about vacation requests? So the topic of discussion is vacation requests. So notice it's do you have a sec plus infinitive, to plus base verb. Common infinitives are to talk about, to discuss, to review, to go over. There are many other options, but those will get you started.
Hey, Jack. Do you have a sec?
Do you have a sec?
Number 3, what's up? Did you notice that I used what's up in the last example? Well, let's talk about what that means. This is a casual way to inquire about someone's needs or wants. In the last example, I said, hi Jennifer, do you have a sec? And then as a reply, sure, what's up? What's up? Now first, let's talk about the pronunciation. What's up? What's up? So notice it sounds like one word and you hear that S on what's and sup. We put it in front of up. What's up? Repeat after me. What's up? What's up? Work on that pronunciation because it's extremely important to sound like a native speaker. Let's review this example. What's up with Jacob? He seems really distracted. In this case, it's a casual way to inquire about the status of someone, usually based on that person's behavior. So Jacob seems distracted. I want to know why. What's the reason? What's the status of Jacob? What's up with Jacob? He seems really distracted. To reply, you could say, I'm not sure. Maybe he's under pressure. Or you could provide the reason, the status. His father's in the hospital. So that explains what's up with Jacob. You could also ask, what's up with the conference? Have the speakers been determined yet? In this case, it's a casual way to inquire about the status of something, the conference.
What's up with her?
What's up with Marshall? What's up with Ichabod?
Number 4, I'm on it. This is a great expression and is used to accept responsibility for a task. For the pronunciation, notice how those sounds blend together. I'm on it. So you take the M and you put it on, and you take the N and you put it in front of it. I'm on it. Repeat after me. I'm on it. I'm on it. You can also drop the subject and verb and simply say on it. Make sure you get knit. On it. Repeat after me. On it. Excellent. Someone could and say, hey Jennifer, can you send out the meeting request? And I can reply back and say, on it. In this case, it's a response to a direct request. Someone asked me directly to do something. On it. Now, if you're in a meeting and the boss says, does anyone have time to send out the meeting request? You can volunteer to accept this task and say, on it. So you can use this as a reply to an open request. So if you like this lesson, make sure you share it with your friends. Now, to say that you accept this task that I just gave you, what can you say? On it, on it. So put that in the comments, on it. But then make sure you actually share this lesson with your friends.
I'm on it.
All right. I'm on it. I'm on it.
I'm on it.
Number 5, could you give me a hand? This is used to ask if someone can help you. Notice for that pronunciation, did you hear that j sound? Could you, could you, give me, could you give me a hand? Repeat after me. Could you give me a hand? Could you give me a hand? Now this is a general request for help, so someone could reply back and say, sure, what's up? They're asking about your needs and wants. Sure, what's up? So the person can say, I need to bring these boxes to the garage. Now the other person can say, I'm on it, to accept your request for help. I'm on it. You can also specify the activity directly in the question and say, could you give me a hand with these boxes? So notice you use the preposition with and then you specify what help you need. You can also use this to offer someone help. I have 20 boxes to move and they're all really heavy. A very nice coworker could say, I can give you a hand, or I'm happy to give you a hand with that.
Give me a hand.
Yeah.
Maybe you could give me a hand.
Did you give me a handout back?
Number 6, I can't make it. This is to say that you're not available to attend something or go somewhere. In this case, make it means attend or arrive. Now let's talk about the pronunciation. I can't. Notice we don't push out that T. I can't. Just don't push it out. I can't make it. The K sound is on the vowel. Kit. Make it. I can't make it. Repeat after me. I can't make it. I can't make it. Your coworkers could say to you, we're grabbing a bite after we move all the boxes. So they're casually inviting you to join them. And you can say, sorry, I can't make it. I have to pick up my kids. So you can't go, you can't attend. Or you could be on your way to a meeting, but there is an accident and you have to text your coworker and say, traffic is terrible. I'm not going to make the meeting. Start without me. So here, remember, we're just using the verb make instead of attend. Or you could say, I'll try my best to make it tonight. So it might be the party. I'll try my best to make the party. You could also say, I'll try my best to make it to the party.
I can't make it tonight.
Oh, I can't make your party tomorrow.
Deb, I can't make it.
Number 7, it's up to you. This is to say that someone is responsible for making the decision. Notice that pronunciation, it's up to you. So we take it's sup, we use that S sound, it's sup ta instead of to, it's up to you. Repeat after me, it's up to you. It's up to you. So if you're planning to watch a movie tonight, you could say to your friend or partner, there are 3 new releases. Which one do you want to watch? And your partner can say, it's up to you. So you're responsible for deciding. It's common to add the reason why. For example, they all look good to me, so it's up to you. This is very commonly used if you give someone 2 choices. Do you want to take the highway or the scenic route? It's up to you. You are responsible for deciding. Again, you can provide the reason why. You're driving, so it's up to you.
It's up to you.
It's up to you. It's up to you.
Now you're going to keep expanding your vocabulary and you're going to learn 15 words that will impress native speakers. And you're going to listen to real-world examples of native speakers using these words so you can make sure that you have native pronunciation. Here's how this lesson will work. You'll see a word on the screen and you'll have 5 seconds to define that word. After you'll learn the definition and pronunciation, you'll review example sentences using that word, and then you'll hear real-world native speakers using that word. Number 1, do you know this word? Grim. Grim. Repeat after me. Grim. This is an adjective that means extremely bad, worrying, or without hope. The news about the economic downturn was grim. His expression turned grim when he heard the bad news. The weather forecast this weekend looks grim. Don't worry about writing this down because I summarize everything in a free lesson PDF. You can find the link in the description. Now let's listen to some real-world examples of native speakers using this word.
Envisioning a totally different and less grim history or future.
We joke sometimes that, you know, with all the grim stuff I have to deal with every day, get me in a room with some young people.
Stadiums like Lusail will continue to be a grim reminder that it all came at a human cost.
Number 2, do you know this one? Baffle. Baffle. Repeat after me. Baffle. This is a verb and it means to result in total confusion. The results baffled the scientists. She was baffled by his decision to quit. Notice this example sentence is in the passive voice. She was baffled by his decision. This is commonly used in the passive. You could also say phrasal verbs often baffle students, just like you. But don't worry, that's why I'm here to help you learn all of these words so they don't baffle you, so you're not baffled by them. So if you agree that I can help you learn these words, put that's right in the comments. Now let's listen to some real native speakers using this word.
Entertain, provoke, and baffle audiences all over the world. But who is he?
What searchers found continues to baffle people to this day.
There's still a ton about nature's creations that baffle us to this day.
Number 3, how about this word? Demeanor. Demeanor. Repeat after me. Demeanor. This is a noun. It's one's way of looking and behaving. Having a patient demeanor is an important quality for teachers. I'm sure you would agree with that. If you do, then put that's right in the comments. Despite his serious demeanor at work, he has a great sense of humor. The manager's friendly demeanor made the new employee feel welcome. Now let's listen to some real-world examples from native speakers.
His folksy charm and grandfatherly demeanor endeared him to the media and his at-home audience.
But he has this Queen's tough guy demeanor that rallies the base.
If you're a leader, your demeanor is going to carry to your team.
Number 4, do you know this word? Camaraderie or camaraderie. Notice the first pronunciation has an extra sound, comma, camaraderie. The second one just says camaraderie. Most American speakers, in my experience, say camaraderie. That's the one that I personally use. This is a noun that means mutual trust and friendship among people who spend a lot of time together. The camaraderie among the team was evident. They enjoyed the camaraderie of working together. The trip was filled with laughter and camaraderie. Now let's review some real-world examples, and I'll show you both pronunciations. Camaraderie, camaraderie.
So you have that camaraderie.
And so there was a real kind of sense of camaraderie, who were working together towards the same goal.
When you're working on your own, you miss that sort of sense of camaraderie that you get when you have a team around you.
Number 5, do you know this word? Intimidating. Repeat after me. Intimidating. Intimidating. This is an adjective, and it means making you feel frightened or nervous. Speaking with native speakers can be intimidating. I'm sure you would agree with that, but that's again why I'm here making these videos to help you improve your English fluency so it doesn't feel intimidating, so you feel more confident. If you agree with that, well, why not put that's right in the comments. Another example, her intimidating demeanor. Remember this word, demeanor? Her intimidating demeanor made everyone uneasy. Moving to a new city alone is intimidating. Now let's listen to some real-world examples.
Working with a legend like Daniel is intimidating, but he makes everyone better.
He finds extroverts energizing, but a bit intimidating.
That being said, he is, I think, quite intimidating for many people.
Number 6, how about this word? Prevalent. Prevalent. Repeat after me. Prevalent. This is an adjective. It means very common, happening often, or widespread. The flu is prevalent during the winter months. Smartphones have become prevalent in today's society. They're everywhere. They're widespread. They're prevalent. Droughts are prevalent in this area. Now let's listen to some real-world examples from native speakers.
It's there, but it's not as prevalent as you think.
Let's walk through 3 of today's more prevalent theories.
The duration and technology risk that's very prevalent in 60-40 portfolios.
Number 7, do you know this one? Blatant. Repeat after me. Blatant. Blatant. This is an adjective, and it's when doing a bad thing, but you're doing it intentionally or openly for everyone to see. For example, his blatant disregard for the rules got him in trouble. So he didn't follow the rules, but he did it openly in front of everyone. He wasn't trying to hide it. It's blatant that you're trying to cheat on the exam. The company was fined for blatant violations of safety regulations. Now let's hear some native speakers using this word.
You would see the blatant
rainforest destruction.
Reporting, I was embarrassed by the just blatant disobeying the law.
Aside from this blatant conflict of interest lies the problem of self-censorship.
Number 8, do you know this one? Resolute. Resolute. Repeat after me, resolute. This is an adjective that means determined in character, action, or ideas. It's generally a positive thing. She remained resolute in her decision to pursue a new career. Despite the challenges, he was resolute in his goals. Her resolute attitude inspired her team to keep going. Let's hear some native speakers using this word.
But we're resolute, we're determined, and your help is not required.
The resolute figure who proves that character is destiny.
It was one of those moments where you had to be resolute in what you were doing.
How are you doing with these words so far? Let's keep going with number 9. Do you know this word? Hinder. Hinder. Repeat after me. Hinder. This is a verb and it means to limit one's ability or the development of something. His knee injury hindered his training schedule. Poor weather conditions can hinder outdoor activities. The lack of proper equipment will hinder our project. Let's hear some native speakers using this word.
Without letting the past hinder us is really key to our ability to staying alive as a company.
That promote or hinder growth.
And seems to really hinder your ability to be an inspirational leader.
Number 10, do you know this one? Obstacle. Obstacle. Repeat after me. Obstacle. This is a noun and it's something that blocks one's way or prevents or hinders progress. Remember, hinder? So an obstacle hinders your progress. It limits it. The biggest obstacle to their success was a lack of funding. Or you might be in a meeting at work and you ask, how can we overcome these obstacles? Traffic is a major obstacle during my morning commute. Maybe that's something that you experience, an obstacle that you experience every day, traffic, and it hinders you. Let's review some example sentences from native speakers.
If there's an obstacle in the way, you find a way to clear it.
And could this person be a possible obstacle?
This is another obstacle for BFR passenger transport, since it would only be able to travel between big coastal cities.
Number 11, do you know this one? Circumvent. Circumvent. Repeat after me, circumvent. This is a verb and it's to find a way around an obstacle. So you have an obstacle, something that limits you, and if you circumvent that obstacle, you find a way around it. And you do that in a very clever way, but also in an illegal way, where you're breaking the rules, perhaps blatantly breaking the rules. For example, how did you circumvent getting a visa? So getting a visa is your obstacle and you circumvented it. You found a way around it. But was it legal? We don't know. Here's one that definitely sounds illegal. The hacker circumvented the security system. So this is commonly used with illegal activity. They tried to circumvent the rules. Now let's hear some native speakers using this word in a real world context.
Allowed the government to circumvent reporters' rights.
To circumvent any of these sorts of laws.
And even though it's still easy to circumvent digital copy protection, most users can't do it.
Number 12, do you know this one? exacerbate, exacerbate. Repeat after me, exacerbate. This is a verb, and this means to make a problem or bad situation or something negative even worse. For example, his actions exacerbated the situation. So the situation was already negative and his actions made it worse, exacerbated the situation. Her comment exacerbated the conflict. The power outage exacerbated the riots. Now let's listen to some native speakers using this word.
And exacerbate small moments, turning them into fights.
Would greatly exacerbate our runaway population growth problem.
So changes to one affect and exacerbate the other, and vice versa.
Number 13, do you know this word? Nuance, nuance. Repeat after me, nuance. This is a noun and it is a subtle difference in meaning, expression, or sound. This is an excellent word to use as a language learner in any language, especially English. For example, understanding the nuances of English idioms, those small differences, those subtle differences, the nuances, can greatly improve your fluency. The nuances in pronunciation, those small differences, the nuances in pronunciation can change the meaning of words. English grammar is filled with nuances. And again, that's why I'm here to help you. So put, that's right, because I'm here to help you learn and master all the nuances of the English language. So now let's listen to this word by native speakers, and you can listen to the nuances.
Sometimes there's a shade of nuance or meaning that feels important and useful.
That eliminates all the nuance of the normal distribution.
But the answer has some nuance and can depend on where we're looking in time and space.
Number 14, do you know this one? Disdain, disdain. Repeat after me, disdain. This is a noun and it's the feeling that someone or something is unworthy of one's attention, support, or respect. Maria's disdain for her ex-husband is blatant. Remember that word, blatant? Very obvious or clear. Her disdain, her feeling that her husband is unworthy of her attention or support, is blatant. He spoke about his competitor with disdain. Disdain for the new policy was evident among the employees. Let's listen to some native speakers using this word.
There is our disdain for the status quo.
The very word modesty is often met with such disdain, especially among the younger high school crowd.
Have to be paid for by the taxes so bitterly disdained by the GOP.
Number 15, do you know this word? Pivotal, pivotal. Repeat after me, pivotal. This is an adjective. It means of crucial importance in relation to the development or success of something else. For example, the decision was pivotal to the company's future. He played a pivotal role in the negotiations. Her speech was a pivotal moment in the campaign. Or maybe, how about this example? JForrest English is pivotal to my English fluency. Would you agree with that? It's of crucial importance. It's extremely important. It's pivotal. I hope you would agree with that. Put that's right. Why not put that's right in the comments if you agree that it's pivotal. Now let's listen to some native speakers using this word.
The treaty marked a pivotal moment in Middle Eastern history.
That first 90 seconds is
pivotal.
Play a pivotal role in the stress and well-being of a workplace.
To answer that pivotal question.
With this masterclass, my goal is for you to get fluent fast. So I'm going to share 9 things that I wish all English learners knew. Number 1, native speakers don't care about your grammar mistakes. I understand that you care about your grammar mistakes. I understand that your teacher cares about your grammar mistakes. And I understand that other students care about your grammar mistakes because as an English learner, you're in an English learner environment. But in the real world, the focus is not on your English skills. The focus is on how you communicate your message, your ideas. Is that a good idea that you shared? If it's a great idea, but you made a grammar mistake, that doesn't matter as long as your idea is great. And native speakers in the real world are not English teachers. They're not English learners. They don't know grammar. They never learned grammar. They don't care about grammar. And quite frankly, they think grammar is pretty boring.
This is boring.
But as long as you're understood and you're communicating great ideas, native speakers don't care about your grammar mistakes. And part of the reason that native speakers don't care about your grammar mistakes is number 2, native speakers don't speak perfect English. I'm an English teacher, so when I'm speaking to people, students, native speakers, my ear is very attuned to noticing grammar mistakes or awkward sentence structure or incorrect pronunciation. And let me tell you, I notice these 3 things from native speakers as well. Of course, not to the same degree or frequency as with students, but absolutely native speakers make mistakes. And often when a native speaker makes a mistake, even if someone said to them, oh, hey, you used the wrong verb tense, they would say, I don't care. Because remember, point 1, native speakers don't actually care about grammar mistakes. As long as they're communicating an idea, that is all that matters. So it's okay that you make grammar mistakes because native speakers, even myself as an English teacher, we don't speak perfect English. So you don't have to speak perfect English either. Number 3, you don't need to speak like a native. The truth is that you can have a thick accent, you can use direct translations, you can use incorrect grammar, and you can still be a great communicator. You can still get promoted in your career. How do I know this? Because I live in an English-speaking country. I interact with non-native English speakers all the time who are in high-level positions or who are succeeding in their life. And they do this without sounding like a native. Yes, I understand that as an English learner, of course you want to push yourself and of course you want to reduce your accent, sound more like an American or like a British speaker, use more natural expressions, and I certainly encourage you to do that, but don't let that prevent you from speaking now or from communicating now or from applying to that job now. You can speak confidently, give presentations, get your dream job with your English skills now, even if you don't sound like an American. Now, although you don't need to speak like a native, number 4, you do need to learn phrasal verbs, idioms, and expressions. You've probably already learned that native speakers don't speak like textbooks in the real world, which is part of the problem why you've been studying for so long and yet you go out into the real world and you can't understand native speakers. It's because native speakers, we use phrasal verbs, idioms, and expressions that generally students don't learn or aren't comfortable with. So in order to confidently communicate in the real world with native speakers, you need to understand us. You can't have a conversation one way. Yes, you don't need to speak like a native, but you do need to understand natives because you can't have a conversation successfully if you don't understand the person you're talking to. And in order to understand natives, you have to expand your vocabulary with phrasal verbs, idioms, and expressions. But remember, you don't necessarily have to use them in your speech. You just have to be aware of them and know what they mean so you can understand natives, but you can use the expressions that you're more comfortable with because you've learned them your entire life. Number 5, there's a big difference between learning and using a language. One of the things that I know students struggle with the most is that they don't feel confident speaking. Or like we just talked about, they can't understand native speakers, but they can understand their teacher. And the reason why is because students spend most of their time learning the language, absorbing the language, but not using the language. Students focus too much on input, absorbing the language, perhaps from watching these videos where I teach you inspiration and tips like this, or where I teach you specific grammar structures or vocabulary. That is excellent, and you absolutely need input. You need to know the phrasal verbs, idioms, and expressions. You need to know the grammar rules. You need to know the pronunciation rules as well, but what's missing often is that output, where you take that information you just learned and you practice it. You practice, practice, practice. You practice speaking, so you improve your speaking skills. You practice listening to real English, so you improve your listening skills. And that is the difference between learning a language, which is, of course, important, but using a language, which is equally important. I know a lot of students hesitate to speak in English because they don't feel confident. They have this fear, and it prevents them from getting that output, from taking their knowledge and using it by speaking with native speakers, giving presentations, going to job interviews. But that leads us to number 6, feeling nervous when speaking is normal. Did you know that public speaking is the greatest fear in the world? And this isn't for someone speaking in a foreign language. This is for someone speaking in their native language. Survey after survey show that public speaking is the number 1 fear. It's even a greater fear for people than the fear of death. So don't be concerned if you feel shy or nervous before speaking in a foreign language. The reality is that if you were to give a presentation in your native language, you would probably feel shy and nervous. When I first started teaching students, making YouTube videos, giving more presentations, I was terrified. And I still get nervous to this day, even after making hundreds, thousands of videos and presentations. Feeling nervous is normal, and feeling nervous is expected. The thing you need to remember is that you cannot wait for that feeling of nervousness to disappear. You have to take action now. You have to feel that nervousness in your body and still go to that presentation, go to that networking event, go to that job interview, go to that group with other native speakers. You can't wait for that fear of nervousness to disappear because you'll be waiting forever. The best way to get rid of that feeling in your body is by doing the action. The more you do the action, the more your body will get comfortable with that feeling, and that sensation will become less and less, even though it might still be there, even after you've been speaking for years and years. A lot of students feel disadvantaged because they don't have someone to speak with, or they live in a non-English speaking country. But number 7, you can improve your speaking alone. This is a hard one for students to accept. It's a hard one for me as a teacher to convince students to start doing, because they have this belief that in order to improve your speaking, someone must hear the conversation. The conversation must be two ways. But right now, I'm not having a conversation with anyone. There is nobody in front of me. I'm speaking to a camera. Do you think by doing these videos, I'm improving my public speaking skills? I'm learning how to articulate more clearly. I'm improving my confidence. I'm learning how to improve my body language, my delivery, my overall speech. Absolutely, I am, and I know that because if I go back and watch my very first video and I compare it to this video, there is a huge difference in how I communicate. And I am not speaking with anyone. You have yourself. You can absolutely open your mouth and start talking. But to improve your speaking skills, you have to open your mouth and have the sounds come out. You can't think it in your head because, yes, maybe that voice in your head is saying the words, but it is very different from actually opening the mouth and producing the sounds. You can speak by yourself, you can record yourself, you can look in the mirror, you can narrate your day as you're doing chores, you can ask yourself questions and answer. You can absolutely improve your speaking skills alone. Number 8, there is no finish line. The reality is that you're a lifelong English learner. You're never going to get to a point where you say, well, I've learned it all. I can throw out my dictionaries. I can cancel all my course subscriptions. I can unsubscribe from all English learning channels. Please don't unsubscribe because I have learned it all. You will never get to that point, and that's a very good thing. Imagine there was a doctor who went to medical school 10 years ago and never learned anything new after that. Would you want to fly in a plane and you learned that the pilot graduated from pilot school 20 years ago and had never tried to improve their skill after that? Of course not. Every profession is constantly learning. You're constantly improving your skills in everything that we do. And this isn't even just with learning. It's with your relationships with people. It's with how you do anything. You're always trying to improve these areas. And the same goes for your English. The reality is, if you're at A1 right now, the second you get to A2, you're going to push that further and say, okay, now my goal is B2 or B1. And then you're going to push that and say, now my goal is C1. Now my goal is C2. Okay, I got to the C2 level. Now what? Well, now my goal is learn how to present confidently. Now my goal is to write a book. Now my goal is to improve my body language. Now my goal is to give presentations to large groups of people. No matter what you achieve, you will always look towards the next goal, and that is a very good thing. You should celebrate that fact that you are a lifelong learner. And because you are a lifelong learner, number 9, enjoy the process. Let's say you decided to start a new hobby. So you choose soccer, and then you play a couple times and you realize, you know what? I don't really like this very much. Are you going to feel that motivated to improve your soccer skills, to go to soccer practice, to want and keep playing soccer? If you don't like the actual sport, then of course you're not going to feel that motivated to practice or improve. And the same goes with learning English. There are so many different ways to learn. And it really depends on your learning style as well. Maybe you prefer different styles of videos, different styles of learning techniques, different styles of exercises. But if you're following a specific learning method or a specific teacher and you don't really enjoy the process, well, then you're not going to feel very motivated to do it. But if you're in a program and you love the style of lessons, you find them so interesting and enjoyable, and you look forward to learning a new lesson, well, then it's going to make everything so much easier because you're going to be motivated to log into that course and complete the lesson. Or if you find a teacher on YouTube, hopefully me, then you're going to be motivated to watch a video from that teacher every single day. And the more exposure you get to a language, the faster you'll improve your skills. But if you aren't excited about how you're learning, just take some time and find a method that works for you, because you need to enjoy the process. Because remember, you're a lifelong learner. Many of my students tell me that they love learning English with the news. So you can watch this lesson right now where we review a news article together.